up, y'all? So I have not done a big hit or hyped up shit in quite some time. The last one I did was Morphe Brushes, and you guys seem to really like that one. So we're gonna do another one today. Please excuse my appearance. I just filmed a like natural glowy-ish look, and for like the aesthetic of the video, I guess I didn't want to be like all snazzled up, which BT dubs that should be up after this video. So today we're gonna do the Mercier powders. I asked you guys on Snapchat. I thought I was gonna film it last week, but then I didn't end up having time. So I asked you guys if you would want a big hit or hyped up shit on these little powders right here, the Mercier translucent powder and the Mercier secret brightening powder. If you don't know what a big hit or hyped up shit is, it is basically just a short, supposedly supposed to be a short review of a product that's been like crazy hyped up on YouTube. Even though my Morphe Brushes one was like 15 minutes long, but in my defense, that was a video on the brand as a whole, so of course it's gonna be a little bit longer. So this one's not gonna be as long. It's basically me just flat out telling you, is it worth it, or is it like crazy ass hyped up on YouTube? So let's just get into it. So the first one is the Mercier Original Translucent Powder. This powder is a 1 ounce size, and it is $43. So the reason why this one has been hyped up on YouTube is because of its mattifying properties. A lot of people are recommending this to people who have oily skin. They are saying that it keeps them matte throughout the day. You see a lot of people baking with this. So is this the answer to all your mattification needs? Is this the perfect baking powder? Is this worth the $43 price tag? In my opinion, yes, it is a very finely milled powder. Yes, it does keep you matte for a really long time. Yes, it is good for baking. However, I don't think it's worth the $43 price tag, and here's why. The Coty Airspun powder is essentially just as mattifying. I would recommend this for baking over this because I feel like a lot of people are going to go out and buy this just to bake with because they see so many people doing it. But at $43, when you're baking with a powder, you are using a huge amount of powder. So you're essentially wasting away the powder, and at $43 a pop, like, who wants to spend that kind of money? The Coty Airspun powder keeps me matte just as long as this one does, and if you're baking with it, this is 2.3 ounces and it's $8. So this is a insanely cheaper alternative, and in my opinion does just as good. It's not as like finely milled as the Mercier powder, so it's not going to have as much of a like smoothing effect as what this one does, but at $43 versus $8, like, I will take that all day long. If I had the chance to do it over again, I wish I would have just gotten a sample of this and then taken it home and used it. Had I gotten a sample of it and used it before I bought it, I probably wouldn't have spent the $43 on it. So there is that. It is a good powder though. I'm not saying it's a bad powder. It is a really good powder, really finely milled, smooths over the skin really nice. If you have the money, then yeah, go ahead and buy it. But if you have to like save your money to spend on a $43 translucent powder, then I would say go for the Coty powder all day long. All right, moving right along. The secret brightening powder. So this is recommended for setting under your eyes. That's why it's a brightening powder. It's said to brighten the under eyes. However, I have found that if you are my skin tone or even lighter, or maybe even like a shade or two darker, this isn't going to be brightening on you unless you bake with it. So because I want that brightening effect, I've been baking with it, and this is $25 for 0.14 ounces. So the only way it brightens on me, like I said, is if I bake with it. I don't usually bake directly under my eyes because, as you guys know, like, I don't like to have crusty ass under eyes. Like, my under eyes are dry as can be as it is. So when I bake under there, it makes me look about 20 years older than I actually am. It looks very good on video and in non-flash photography, but like in real life, I look like hella crusty. So I do use it to bake like this area here because that's like where I'm the most oily, and this right here is like where I want the most brightening on my face. Sometimes I will take it like on my forehead, nose, and chin to bake with as well. But I will tell you this, like at $25 for 0.14 ounces, I haven't even had this for a month and I am like halfway through it already. So the price of the powder versus the amount that you get, I don't think it's really worth the price for the amount, because essentially if you took this and turned it into this, if you got this at this size, basically is what I'm trying to say, it'd be like 125 bucks, which is flippin' insane. And I know essentially you're not using as much because you're only using it for your under eyes, because it's basically like a white powder. And being that you're only using it for your under eyes, I can understand why it comes in this size. But for the $25 price tag, for the amount, because I'm blowing through it so quickly, I just don't think it's worth it, because I get so oily right here, like not directly under my eyes, but just right here where my pores are the largest. I basically have to bake there or my concealer breaks down really quickly. I think I've bitched to you guys before, like how quickly my concealer breaks down. I probably will not repurchase this. I do like it and I do use it, but at the rate that I'm going through it, I'm probably not going to repurchase it. However, I will give you guys a cheaper alternative. The NARS Translucent Crystal Light Reflecting Powder. This is not as brightening as what this would be, because if you are like a medium skin tone or even a little bit darker, it is going to be brightening on you, because like I said, it's essentially a white powder. However, if you are like a caramel skin tone or darker, it's just going to look really ashy on you because it's a white powder. If you are of a darker skin tone, I would suggest the Bare Minerals Wow Rested Powder if you want like a brightening under eye powder, versus this one, because like I said, if you're like any darker than like a caramel, like maybe not even that dark, then it is going to look like really ashy and weird because of its whiteness. And it also gives a flashback in photography. Little story time for you. So, and I'll get to that in a sec. I gotta tell y'all this. So my family and I went to laser tag. So me, Tim, and Aiden go to laser tag, and I literally had just bought this like 2 nights or the night before, something like that, because we were on like a little weekender. So if you've ever been to laser tag, like inside, you know that it's like full of black lights. And so we go to walk in, and Tim and Aiden look at me and they're like, the fuck? Aiden was like, you look like a sugar skull. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What's going on? What? And Tim's like, your fucking face is glowing. I'm like, wait, what? So I get on my phone and I'm like, oh my God. Like everywhere. So I had, you know, highlighted with my like highlighting concealer or whatever. So I had it on my forehead, down my nose, on my chin, under my eyes, and it was just like as bright as could be, because it's a white powder and I'm under a black light. So just a pre-warning, if you plan on going to laser tag, or I don't know, going to a fucking rave or something, like don't put this on first. Okay. Anyways, back to the alternative. So a cheaper alternative to this would be the Translucent Crystal Light Reflecting Powder by NARS. Even though this isn't like drugstore cheap, because this powder here is $30, this is one of my absolute favorite powders for setting under the eyes because it's so light. It's not as brightening as this one, but I feel like it is more finely milled than what this one is. Like whenever I put powders under my eyes, like I can tell there's powder there, but when I put this under my eyes, like it just looks like my under eyes, you know what I mean? It doesn't look like there's a ton of powder there. So that's why I like this one. And even though this one is $30, you get 0.35 ounces, which is essentially more than double of what you get for this for only $5 more. So in hindsight, it is a cheaper alternative, even though it's not drugstore. On the drugstore end, I would suggest the Maybeline. Maybeline just came out with a new translucent powder, and it is a good powder, but again, it does flash back, and it probably will glow under a black light, because if it's flashing back in photography, it's probably going to glow under a black light. So that is a cheaper alternative. So I do like this powder, and it is a very good powder. It's very finely milled. but I just don't think I'm going to repurchase it again for $25 for the amount that you get. So if you are somebody that has been like saving your money for these powders, I would definitely go with the alternatives, so that way you can spend your money on something else that's like a little bit more worth what you're getting. Do you know what I'm saying? So that is what's up. Do you guys own these powders? What do you think of them? Do you think they are the end all be all, or could you like care less? I don't know. Let me know. Let a bitch know, because I'd like to know. Put it in the comments down below. So that is what's up. That's it for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you're not. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, on Snapchat if you please, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace!